Good evening. Welcome to Wolfe County High School Esports Action. Today's matchup is the Final Four of the KHSAA State Playoffs. Today's matchup features the Wolves Blue and the E-Town Panthers. So let's jump straight into our champ selection.
Starting off, Wolfe County will be on the red side, so they're on the right there, as you can see on the screen, going off with the first wave of bands. What county are we going against?
E-Town.
E-Town going with the Kaiser band. Wolfe County going with the Ezra. E-Town following up with a Diana band. And then now it's going back to Wolfe County for their next band, who lock in the Camille band on Wolfe County's part. Now going back to E-Town, who will be doing their final band for the first wave. Who will be going with... Trying to make a split decision. Going with the Warwick band, which is a very consistent band we've been seeing across the board for most of these games against Wolfe County's jungler. Now going back to Wolfe County to do their last band as they lock in Rumble. Rumble being a pretty strong champion at the moment, especially in the mid lane. Now starting out with the pick phase, going to E-Town, who'll be doing the first lock-in. Let's see who they go with here.
E-Town taking every second here to make their pick.
As they go with the Zaya lock-in. Wolfe County now going back with their own band. That is an ADC lock-in, going with the Amumu lock-in for the jungle. And Wolfe County now going with their second pick here. The jungle's already locked in for them now, so any other 4 lanes are still open to grab for. They do have the potential to counter-pick an ADC now, though, that Wolfe County, or that E-Town has locked in theirs, but they will instead go with a Shen lock-in for the top lane. Two already very tanky champions for Wolfe County locked in there. As we now go back to E-Town, who is hovering the Rakan for the
Panthers.
Yeah, for the E-Town, who would have great synergy with the Zaya if they do lock that in, which looks like they will here, just to have that little bit of extra advantage as they can get in the bot lane. As it is locked in for E-Town. Now going back to their last pick for the first wave of picks. Bot lane and support's already locked in, so mid, top, and jungle are still open. We go now. It looks like, yeah, they're taking every second they can take here to just make sure they finalize and pick the best option to be going with here for their fight. As it looks like they're hovering the Syndra to be locked in for the mid lane here, and they will go with the Syndra.
Well, this is a big game. This is the Final Four of the state playoffs, so. Yeah. This is win or go home for both teams, and the winner does advance on to the University of Kentucky for the state championship. So, a lot on the line here.
Okay, now going with their last pick for the first wave. Their top and jungle is already locked in, so they still have mid, bot, and support open. As it looks like they'll be hovering and locking in Leona for the support.
Okay, now we get a second round of ban phase. So, Wolfe County getting to pick their 4th ban.
As they do have the option of target banning jungle and top here, being the only 2 lanes left open for them, as they do decide to go with the Jax ban. Sort of best of both worlds, so it can be played in both jungle and top. Going now back to the E-Town, who will be going in with their next lock-in. They do have the options of trying to target ban both mid and ADC, seeing as those are the only 2 lanes available for Wolfe County at this point. Let's see what they go with here. As they lock in the Katarina band for the mid lane. Going back to Wolfe County now, who'll be doing their last ban as they lock in the Set band. Set being a brand new champ that got released at the game about a week ago. Been seeing a lot of play on the Rift at the point. It's only very strong, as he says. It's a very get in there and fight type of champ, so definitely don't want to have that to deal with on their team. As E-Town finishes out their lock-in with an ADC targeted Misfortune ban. Now we go back to the second wave of picks, starting with Wolfe County here, who, like I said, have the ADC and mid lane open or options available to them. They might be going here with the ADC lock-in to try and counterpick their ADC, as they do hover and are going to go with the Varus locked in for Wolfe County. Varus is a fairly safe option. He's got some decent range with a good amount of CC for an ADC. Now going back to E-Town, who would be locking in one of their last of their 2 picks. Should be either a jungle or top lane option here, as they look like they're going to be hovering, and they go lock in the Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser locked in for E-Town. Very strong champion right now. Shen's going to have to play pretty passive. He's going to have to try and do well in that lane. Play pretty safe. Now E-Town going with our last pick, locking in here for the jungle. Try and pick something here to counterpick the Amumu for Wolfe County, as it looks like they're going to hover and lock in Jarvan. Jarvan's a pretty strong jungle. Between Amumu, though, it's a pretty tough matchup. As now Wolfe County go hovering and locking in Sylas for the mid lane. Looking like they're going to lock it in. Then get that Sylas, that opens up a whole lot of extra opportunities for them in use of the enemy team's ultimates, as they do lock in the Sylas for Wolfe County. So those are the 2 lineups, as it looks like we're getting our organized here.
Alright, so your starting lineup here today, in the top lane is senior Logan Creech. In the mid lane is senior Jeremy McKinney. In the bot lane, running ADC, is senior Cameron Caskey, and his support is senior Dylan Profit. And in the jungle is our senior Matt Riley. That is your Wolves Blue here in the playoffs. We also want to take this time to thank our wonderful esports sponsors, Appalachian Wireless, Mountain Telephone, Licking Valley Rural Electric, Farmers and Traders Bank of Campton, Whitaker Bank of Campton, and Sweetheart by Stephanie of Campton, Kentucky. So thanks again to all of our sponsors out there. Go back here and look at our champ selection. Drew, what's your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, let's go ahead and let everyone know what lanes we'll be playing. We're starting off with E-Town, who have locked in the Mordekaiser in the top lane, the Jarvan in the jungle, mid lane Syndra, ADC Xayah with a support Rakan. And Wolfe County going with their lock-ins here. They have in the top lane Shen, in the jungle Amumu, the mid lane Sylas, the ADC Varus with a support Leona. So those are the lineups for the 2 teams. In terms of individual lane power, Mordekaiser is definitely going to have an early advantage over Shen, especially when he gets to level 2, just because of how his passive is and how strong it is. He's definitely going to have that top lane domination for at least the early game. Shen's definitely going to shine, however, whenever he hits his level 6 and is able to ult onto teammates and just turn these team fights around, which is where he's probably going to be where his biggest plays are going to be made, are these ults onto team fights to turn them around in Wolfe County's favor. If he plays early for the most part and manages to keep Mordekaiser from getting any bit fed like as little as possible, that'll definitely help him out in the long run. Would probably definitely also give Wolfe County a lot easier shot at winning, because Mordekaiser just has the potential, if he's fed, to just 1v5. And if they're able to negate that from him getting the ability to do so, that'll greatly help them. In terms of the jungle, Amumu and Jarvan. Amumu and Jarvan are decently tanky junglers, good at ganks, good at team fighting as well. Amumu a little more so on the fact of his ultimate being a little bit bigger area than Jarvan's. Also has the ability to stun. Jarvan's just more or less groups people into between a certain area. Amumu should have a slight advantage there. Between the mid laners, Syndra and Sylas, Syndra being a ranged mid laner is going to have a little bit of a poke advantage on Sylas, but Sylas recently did get reworked. He is a lot stronger than he was, a lot more bursty, and as well as utilizing enemy champions' ultimates is definitely going to help him out, especially if he's able to use them to turn these team fights around, like Jarvan's maybe grouping some people up for the Amumu ult as well for that combo. In the bot lane, Xayah and Rakan have great synergy, how they're were both released at the same time, made for each other, as well as having both of them gives them a slight boost into their gameplay. Xayah able to getting extra attacks off because of having Rakan in the lane. Between Leona and Varus, though, they're a little bit more on the defensive in terms of their comp, or at least that's going to have to play. Varus has a little bit extra range on Xayah, but between the amount of CC between Varus and Leona, they should be able to hold and keep down the E-Town's bot lane and help them out in those team fights as well. Speaking of team fights between the 2 teams, the one that stands out probably the most would be Wolfe County's, just with the sheer amount of just area of effect, crowd control that they have with Leona's ultimate and Amumu's ultimate. Varus is also, if he can able to get off more than one stun with it. Sylas also being able to steal and utilize the enemy team's ults to really help out the team. It should give Wolfe County advantage. They're able to utilize that, but like I said, it could turn, any fight can turn the games either way. So we'll just have to see when we get into it.
This should be an incredible matchup. Both of these teams are, in my opinion, some of the best in the state. This is the Final Four of the playoffs. So we're going to go to our match screen here. It's going to go dark for a minute, but then we will be right back on the loading screen. But, Wolfe County met this team a few weeks ago, and they ended up losing the first time they met this season. But we were down a player. We did not have one of our players that week, so we're hoping that the outcome is different this time around, because we are here and we've prepared for this matchup, and I think this is going to be one of the best matches of the year as far as matchups go. We'll run through here real quick and
too fast.
Instant load. So for reference here, Wolfe County is on the red side, so they'll be coming
From the top right.
from the top right. As we are waiting for them to load in. There we see E-Town. Here's your Wolfe County Wolves.
Both teams are now spawned in. The walls have fallen. Both teams are now moving to their respective lanes. Looking like we're going to have a 5-man invade here from E-Town to the bot side. Wolfe County might try and do the same. It looks like they're actually not going to. Instead, Mumu is going to go up towards top side, warding. Silence does get vision of the enemy team. He's going to go ahead and move out of the way for him to back off. E-Town is still staying. They might just go ahead and commit and take that buff, as looks like they are. Mordekaiser is moving down towards the buff. There is a ward drop there, though, so Wolfe County will have vision of the entire team, which they do now.
Wolfe County better be careful there with that 5-man invade. That's very risky, and E-Town may start backing off here.
Yeah, E-Town looking like they are going to go ahead and back off, moving back to their side of the map for now.
A game of this magnitude is not the time to take risks, unnecessary risks. Something this early is not going to make a huge difference. So best to play it safe here. Go back, get your buffs, play smart. As we wait here the last 10 seconds before those buffs spawn. As we see E-Town going to work on that red buff in the bottom jungle there. Chipping away at that health.
Both teams have now officially started the match. Minions have moved up in the lane and the game has begun. Both teams now playing really passive for the most part. Centra doing a little bit of poke there on Silas in the mid lane. Nothing too severe to worry about. Leona and Varus playing, pretty safe in the bot lane. Actually pushing a little more up than you'd be kind of surprised. But again, this early in the game, nothing's going to be happening. As we see here, Shen, playing on that top side. He's going to get that Q on him with the shield from his Q, also blocking most of that damage from Mordekaiser. So, should be pretty even there for the most part. Mordekaiser did just hit level 2, so he might try and turn something around on Shen. So it looks like he will. His passive is activated with the aid of his E landing on Shen there. We see Zion Rakan sitting in the bot lane. Wolfe County's already level 2 now in the bot lane, as well as immediately being followed up by E-Town's bot lane, hitting level 2. Rakan going in for the attempted dive there, but he's not going to be able to hit anything with it. Allowing for Varus to get a couple of auto attacks off onto him. Shen going, just tanking some sustained damage from Mordekaiser. Like I said, Shen's going to have a pretty rough early game against Mord. If he plays like he's right now, though, he should be fine playing under tower pretty defensively. If he's able to get his taunt off as well, pulling Mord under the tower to tank some damage from it, that would probably help him to turn around and fight pretty well. As Shen just now hits level 3. When you see Wolfe County's bot lane backing off under their tower onto the bot side, Silas and Syndra sitting pretty even in the mid lane now. Trades are both pretty even. Silas is about half of his mana though, because he's got to use his abilities to get some range onto Syndra, but he is going to be able to make that up pretty easily. Just been playing pretty passive with his auto attacks. Shen again taking another Q from Mordekaiser there. Already sitting at about a third of his health. The early abuse from Mordekaiser very clearly showing at this point. Syndra does land the QE combo onto Silas with the electrocute proc for that burst, for that extra boosted damage. onto Silas in the mid lane, who does decide to back off and heal a little bit. The wave again pushes back up under the tower now for Wolfe County in the bot lane. For the most part, most of the lanes playing pretty passive. Silas being a little aggressive, which is, always good to see. And almost getting hit by that pull there from Mordekaiser.
Good avoiding it there, though.
Yeah, good sidestep there from Shen on that pull from Ward. We do see both the junglers playing pretty passive. We're not going to see any. We haven't seen any, engages from either jungler for the most part. Although we might see something here in the second. Jarvan is moving up towards the top side, looking like he's just maybe looking to drop a ward. Potentially, no, he's going for the Scuttle Crab. Because he did see a flash from Silas in the mid lane, taking some damage. Jarvan coming up for that tower dive. The taunt from Shen onto Mordekaiser does hit. The flash from Mord also following it. Jarvan taking some damage from the tower, but not enough, as the Q from him does finish and secure the kill onto Shen in the top lane.
That was a good play by E-Town to come up and double team him.
Yeah, that was a solid play from them to do that. We do see now Mumu is going up to the top lane to try and keep that wave push back off.
So after 5 minutes here, a slightly early lead for E-Town with a 800 gold lead and a 1-0 kill lead, but still way early.
We've seen engage there from Rakan and Zai in the bot lane. The Q from Leona missing both champions. Not able to follow in on that. Rakan did, pretty solid engage there. Both teams trading pretty evenly in the bot lane. Q there from Varus does connect with the Zaya, doing some pretty good damage. Rakan goes with the knock-up, landing it on both Leona and Varus, who does get Zaya, allow Zaya to get her root off. Another Q there from Leona does not connect with either of the bot laners from A-Town, forcing Leona to back off for now. Connect behind her Varus.
And Cloud Drake is up, so that's something to be aware of here, as both teams will want to try to take advantage of the Drakes in this game.
Yeah.
Nice dodge there by Silas in the mid lane.
Good use of his E dash from Silas there. The Q from Mordekaiser does land onto Shen. Shen trying to back off so that way Mordekaiser doesn't use his ultimate to trap him in there with him. Because at this point, Shen just can't win that trade yet. Both teams now, most of their lanes level 6. Or at least, on E-Town's side, their mid laner and top laner are both level 6. Shen currently a little under level at 5, does take some damage from Mordekaiser there. Mordekaiser using the ultimate onto Shen. Shen trying his best to run away. He's just walking around, taking some damage. Jarvan is sitting there on the ready for them if they do go. Shen using his taunt to pull Mord under tower. He is taking a lot of damage here, though. He's not going to fall to it, though. As Shen does a lot of good sidestep there and maneuvering from him, just, not dying there in that invade from them.
So that same play did not work out as planned the second time around. So
no.
That's a difficult thing to maneuver there, because that tower does so much damage, especially early in the game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can see there, it took out over half, 3/4 of the health on Jarvan there.
Oh, yeah. We're now going through the bot lane. River clearing that vision out. Control ward is dropped in the bush, though, for Wolfe County, sorry. And looking like Shen almost going to fall to the minion wave there just from the auto attacks alone. He's looking like he is going to get caught here if he does stay. The Q from Mord slamming onto Shen, almost dying to it. Shen is sitting at a point where Mord can tower dive him. He's looking like he's going to be doing so. The Q does connect at the very end onto Mord. In retaliation, though, Silas is ulting up in the top line. You see Leona does land the Q onto Rakan that time, aiming a little more ahead for where he's going to be onto Zaya, taking a lot of damage there from both of them. The heal from Zaya there onto Rakan does save him for the moment. The root also called back from Zaya onto Leona does root her, almost falling as well. But the thing is, Varus did not have to use his heal there, so I will say that on that trade, even though looking like Wolfe County did take more damage for the most part, I would say they came out on top just for the fact that they didn't have to use any of their spells. Or as many as their spells. Zaya having to use her heal and flash, unlike, Leona, who just had to use hers. Just her flash. The score is currently 2-0 with a 1,000 gold lead in favor of E-Town at 9 minutes into the game.
So both teams sort of been playing a little passive here, not being overly aggressive besides that top lane.
Oh, yeah. But he has the ability to do so just because of the champion he's playing.
So we'll probably start seeing a little more creativity and a little more action here in the next few minutes as we see E-Town going after that Drake.
E-Town's going to try to secure the first Drake of the game. Wolfe County isn't there to contest it, so they're not going to be able to stop it as E-Town does secure the first Drake of the game, being a Cloud Drake. Next Drake coming after this will be an Infernal. This will definitely want to be one that Wolfe County will want to try and contest and secure if they can. Both the bot laners now for Wolfe County are going to go ahead and back at this point where the wave is pushed up. Shen is sitting at level 8 in the top lane now, or 7, so he is, fairly close to Mord. Syndra playing a little aggressive in the mid lane. Silas also deciding maybe going on a fight here. He does steal the Syndra ulti, using it against her. The Ignite from Syndra might be enough to do him in, but it looked like he's going to be able to flash and just narrowly get away from her Q there, which would have definitely done him in. For the most part, you can tell between the two teams, Wolfe County is definitely playing for the late game. Most notably, between the top laners, Shen doesn't have a very early game, unlike Mordekaiser, but he does have a very solid, very strong late game. As a champion who builds mostly tank, will still do a crazy amount of damage in the late game, as well as that utility with his ultimate. As if they're just able to sustain that long to get to that point. Now we see Wolfe County's bot lane is clearing out Rakan. Leona does land the Q onto Rakan here, followed up by the Varus ult onto Rakan. The Ignite from Leona as Varus does secure the kill with his auto attacks.
And that puts the gold lead back to around 600 here, 700.
Varus through the Q there, does land on Xayah under tower.
Okay, maybe able to get this tower damaged a little bit. Well, no, they're going to back off.
As they do see Jarvan is behind them. The Q from Leona does connect onto Jarvan. Amuma coming in from the side here. We see some Qs thrown out, some auto attacks from Xayah. The ult from Jarvan with the flash combo. There's the ult from Xayah trying to get away from the fight, but not before Leona does come in from the side. Leona missing the Q narrowly. The QE combo from Syndra coming down from the mid lane now. The the QE combo knockup does land onto Varus there from Jarvan, who does take a lot of damage. Both teams training very well in that bot lane fight there, looking like...
And both teams badly beaten up, too, after that, so...
Oh, yeah. I will say, however, though, just from the damage, Wolfe County did do a little more damage in that fight. You see now, Mumu is sitting around towards the Dragon Pit, clearing some wards out of it.
As you can see, both teams here starting to play a little more aggressive as we start getting, into this mid part of the game here.
Oh, yeah.
Wolfe kind of cutting that gold lead down to about 400 or 500 here. So, Wolfe kind of picking up a little bit of steam here. They got that one kill a few minutes ago.
Both the bot laners for Wolfe County have backed and have allowed for E-Town to push those waves back out, who will in turn also back now. We do see Mordekaiser having to defend the wave, pushing into his tower. On the top side, Shen having backed is now moving up towards his top side lane. Jarvan going for his blue buff here as Amumu already secures his tools, rotating down towards the river. We do see a wild Rakan rotating up towards what looks like mid lane, as they do have vision of Rakan. So Wolfe County's mid laner will back off now and doesn't want to have an unnecessary fight. Shen going in, trying to stop that Rift Herald from securing that tower, as it looks like he's going to try and stop it. He will narrowly narrowly stop the Rift Herald, so it isn't, it doesn't get tower. Mordekaiser just being hyper aggressive in that top lane. Shen trying his best to defend, but only has one tower plating left up in the top side. Looking like we do have an Amumu ganking from the back now. He is going to throw the Q here. It's going to land onto neither, barely missing Rakan and coming just a little short of Xayah in that fight. Well, meanwhile, E-Town will secure the first tower of the game. Mordekaiser using his ultimate on Shen here, trying his best just to sustain long enough, but isn't going to do anything as Mordekaiser is very easily able to win that fight against Shen. Score's currently 3-1 at 13.5 minutes with a 2,000 gold lead in favor of E-Town. Silas attempting to go in there onto the Syndra, does get knocked back by her Q and her E, so he is thrown out of range of her. Mordekaiser just consistently pushing in that top lane. Very little pressure thrown up there against him by Wolfe County's jungler here. Silas getting hit with another QE from Syndra with the auto attack, trying to follow up to do her electrocute damage, but it does not activate. A little too few and far between for the damage there for that electric to go off. Wolfe County meanwhile in the bot lane. Leona looking like she's going to rotate up towards the top lane. Varus trying to solo defend in the mid lane. Looking like he actually is going to back in instead. Looking at between the two teams, bot lane still farming very well with only an 8 CS difference on the ADCs in the bot lane. Silas also doing extremely well in the mid lane, only down about 10 CS in the mid lane. Looking like, though, in the process, Wolfe County is going to allow them to secure another Drake, this one being an Infernal. Next dragons that are going to be spawning will be Mountain Drakes. So the Mountain Drake buff is going to be the one that they're going to be wanting, especially with that shield that it gives. If Wolfe County does let E-Town secure that, it's going to make it very tough for him to fight in those fights with that shield that it gives. Varus and Leona now in the top lane, swapping with Shen, trying to push these waves back out, as Shen trying to solo lane against Xayah and Rakan in the bot lane, pushing them back. They do have Jarvan there with them as well. So Shen trying his best to fight here, just to keep these waves pushed back. Xayah just going to use that range to just poke him down without any problem whatsoever. We do see Shen getting a little bit of farm here in the process. Taking some damage here. The root does land onto Shen from Xayah and Rakan, using his flash also as well as his taunt dash to try and get out of range of them to just to avoid an unnecessary death. He did a pretty decent job of what he was planning to do, which was push them off that bot lane long enough for Wolfe County's bot to go up top lane and push that back, and then rotate back towards bot lane to keep that lane also pushed.
But this tower's going to fall here.
But this tower's definitely going to fall with the aid of that Demolish rune.
Now, E-Town does have, close.
You see the ult combo on both Leona and Varus from the E-Town jungler. E-Town's ADC does secure the kill. Xayah does get the kill onto Varus. That was a good combo there from E-Town with the use of that Jarvan ult. He grabbed both of Leona and Varus, making it a very securable kill for them. Mumu is sitting towards the top side, looking like he was going to try and go in on the board, but he decided not to in the last second. Instead, going to rotate towards mid lane with the Syndra. So him and Silas can probably go in on the 2 versus 1 here, but is instead just going around clearing wards.
So Wolfe County's going to have to really do something here and turn this game around here, because it is starting to get leaning in E-Town's favor here.
Oh yeah. Shen does get hit with the EQ combo from Mordekaiser. They're doing a fairly noticeable amount of damage here. If you want to try and do something, he is going to try to avoid most of the damage, but just Mordekaiser just relentless, damage and pushing power in the top lane, making it very hard for Shen to do anything. Shen even hasn't really had a chance to use his ultimate on him because of the lack of team fighting. Silas trying his best to fight Mordekaiser here. The ultimate from Mordekaiser onto Silas. Silas instead trying to take it. He does flash. Trying to do his best to extend a little bit longer in the ultimate from Mordekaiser, but not going to be able to do anything, as Mordekaiser also is able to secure that double kill on Shen. Wolfe County now, the 3 remaining Wolfe County players are in the mid lane trying to defend that first tower from falling. They don't have a whole lot of presence in the mid lane at the moment. Varus is going to manage to avoid the Rakan knockup, however. As we see Jarvan now rotating out towards the mid lane. He does get the knockup combo. The flash from Jarvan narrowly escaping. A good flash from Wolfe County's ADC there. Getting away with a sliver of health, as well as turning it around to secure that kill on Jarvan. So a good play there from Wolfe County's ADC. It does help to make it a little less pressure on them. Silas does have the Mordekaiser ultimate, so if he does want to go in on somebody, he does have the potential to solo somebody and do so. He doesn't have a whole lot much time left on it, however, though, so he's going to try and do what he can to, utilize it before it goes away. Probably focusing the Xayah if potentially possible, just because of how much power she's got in the game. Even though she's not particularly fed, only sitting at 1-0, she does have a lot of peel between the rest of her team, with Mordekaiser and Jarvan and Rakan able to keep the Wolfe County off of her. as it looks like the ultimate from Mordekaiser does disappear on Silas. Shen trying his best to push that wave back out in the top lane. He does lose his first 2 towers. Look, in the process, though, E-Town is going to be able to uncontestedly secure this Rift Herald here. Leona does have a... Leona is sitting near, but she doesn't have the ability to steal it. She does throw her ultimate, but not getting it. Just a little short of time on it. The flash there from Jarvan with the Rakan following with his jump there. Okay, I didn't have a nice attempt at an engage there, but E-Town playing very defensive on that part right there did get them the Rift Herald.
Wolfgang's starting to travel here as a team. They play best when they play as a team, so
Yeah.
we're going to see how it works out for them.
Looks like Wolfgang is going to try and do that, and at this point they've decided, fighting as a group is going to be what's going to be the best for them. Moving with the ultimate onto Mordekaiser, the ult from Varus also. Actually, no, Varus didn't ult there. I thought Varus did, but he didn't. It was just his Q winding up. The ult does get secured from Amumu. Silas trying his best to follow up on Syndra here. He does go in. Leona does follow up as well. Varus with another kill secured onto Syndra. Varus definitely being the player right now that Wolfgang is going to try and do as much as I can to get all the damage onto him. Jarvan tries his best to go over the wall, potentially, but not before Amumu does steal the Drake. Varus insteadly throwing himself back over the wall right into Wolfgang's team. Just in a short couple minutes right there, already Wolfgang turning around from a 6-2 to 6-5 difference. I'm also narrowing the gold lead from what the 6,000 or 7,000 it was to like the 5 it is now. 4,500 gold.
Yep. And Wolfgang getting this blue buff here real quick.
Wolfgang now, I think, sort of realized the fact that they're going to have to play as a team, trying to single out people to try and turn this around if they want to, come out victorious in this game, because, individual lanes, E-Town just has too much pressure going on, too much dominance, especially with the top lane, so they're going to be best if they can just, single out one person and just 3 or 4 people go in on them at once.
Well, we knew coming into this game this was going to be a really tough matchup. This is going to be probably our hardest game of the year. And we see here that...
Mumu does get the Q onto Zyra, who does use it in the nick of time to save herself. Rakan does get caught out, however. Mumu does secure the kill. Silas does steal the Rakan ult. The charm going off onto Xayah. The auto attack passive proccing onto Xayah from Silas does get the fight turned around in his favor. They're trying their best. Syndra does secure the kill on Silas. Mordekaiser coming in with the kill on Amumu. Varus, Shen, and Leona L3 deciding to turn around on Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser did do the pull to try and, save himself some time. Shen actually winning that fight does secure the kill on Mordekaiser. The flash Q auto attack from Syndra does get the kill onto Shen. So, and these last couple minutes have gotten pretty intense, at least for Wolfgang's part. Definitely turning around, some fights and putting them in their favor. Most of, E-Town is back up at this point, so they will try and push these lanes back out.
Well, this game is far from over. Both teams are coming out strong here, fighting with everything they have. They know what's on the line here.
If Wolfe County is able to turn around and get a few of these towers, they'll be able to very easily cut that gold difference way shorter than it already is. Just because of, they don't have any towers and E-Town just sitting at 5, that alone will definitely probably cut that, that gold difference down by at least half, if not more. Both teams now pushing back out. Wolfgang in their jungle pushing the lanes back out. Movement does get secured red buff. Varus did get vision of blue buff, didn't see it was up, but does get vision of Varus instead, as E-Town does drop the Rift Herald in the bot lane. We do see instead, though, we do see E-Town are going to try and attempt a Baron attempt here.
Wolfgang's got to take care of this Rift Herald as quickly as possible, and they're going to be able to address the...
They're going to for sure get the Rift Herald, but in the process are going to lose Baron. They don't have anybody up to contest it.
Silas is getting close, but he's not going to be close enough.
Silas is going to try and get close, but even without the need of Jarvan, E-Town does get a completely uncontested Baron, making it a lot rougher for Wolfe County. If they're able to keep them out for about the next 5 minutes, they can try and make that Baron buff as useless as possible. But at the amount of pressure that they do have, it's going to be a lot tougher for them to do so.
And Wolfe County here bunched up in mid lane, and they may be able to push this tower here. Wolfe County's minion wave's just not far enough up to make that happen.
Both teams now are completely converged in the mid lane. We're about to potentially see a fight go on here in any second. There's throwing a Q there. Does connect with Mordekaiser there in the back. Jarvan is looking for a potential engage. If Jarvan, Rakan, or Mordekaiser are able to catch anybody out, they could definitely come out victorious on this team fight. And this fight right here could determine if Wolfgang does win or lose, depending on who gets caught out. But it looking like instead they're going to play extremely defensive, pushing back under that tower, not letting them get caught out.
And Wolfgang better watch out for that jungle there, hiding out.
Okay, now pushing back the mid lane, pushing the mid lane back out.
And
We see an ult engage from Leona. The Varus following up with his ultimate as well. The knockback from Syndra does knock Leona back, but now before she's able to immediately follow back up. Varus does secure the kill on Xayah with the ultimate from Syndra, trying to do something. Mount before Varus does secure a double kill. The Amumu ultimate also catching out the Syndra under the tower. Leona and Amumu trying to tower dive as well. Shen with his taunt dash does connect, taunting her back. Leona does secure the kill. So a very strong fight for Wolfgang there. A very good play, managing to catch them out whenever Jarvan was not there with them, as well as Mordekaiser. They might lose. They have lost a side tower in the process, but in the meanwhile, did gain a couple of kills. Now putting the score to 12-10 with Wolfgang leading those kills, down to still about 5,000 gold. Dragon is going to be up here in the next few seconds, in the next 15 seconds. Wolfgang trying their best to get down there to contest that, just not going to let E-Town, have this Drake if they can avoid it, but it looks like they're not going to be able to get there in time. They are far too far back. Jarvan is getting close, or Varus is getting close. He's going to try and get up there, but not before Jarvan just very easily secures it. Wolfgang's team now is in the bot side river. They're going to push back up. Mordekaiser didn't hit with the Amumu Q, using the ultimate onto
missing the ultimate.
The Varus also. Mordekaiser does secure the kill onto Varus. The ult from Leona onto 3 people. Xayah with the burst damage onto them. We do see return around. Leona does get the kill on Mordekaiser. Xayah with the double kill, triple kill. Syndra securing that kill for the ace on Wolfgang. Are now going to try and push up as hard as they can. Wolfgang, that was a rough fight for Wolfgang for sure. Especially Mordekaiser zoning out. Mordekaiser played about the best that he could. He managed to do what he wanted to. He wanted to zone out the Varus and keep them from, he wanted to do his best to keep Varus from getting in that fight, and he did what he was going to plan on doing. They are now going to try and keep continually push. As they do secure the inhibitor, they are going to instead back as Varus is up. Most of Wolfgang is going to be spawning up in the next few seconds. They don't have the power just yet for E-Town to push and finish this game, but will go ahead and back off and just in its stead clear Amumu jungle. There is one more Mountain Drake required for for E-Town to have the Mountain Drake buff, so Wolfgang's going to try and see if they can do what they can to keep that from happening. We do see now Wolfgang pushing back through their topside jungle, clearing whatever wards they can find. Score's now 15-13 at 27 minutes, with a 7,000 gold lead in favor of E-Town and 7 towers to nothing in favor of E-Town also, as well as having 3 Drakes to the 1 for Wolfgang in E-Town's favor. Wolfgang now pushing out the mid lane, trying to play defensive here, pushing that wave back out. Varus going for the red buff here. You can definitely utilize that. Mordekaiser's going to try and catch out here. He does get the pull onto Mumu. Mordekaiser Varus, did Varus get a QSS? Varus did buy a QSS, so he did turn that around, canceling the Mordekaiser ultimate. We see the Shen ult coming in onto them. Xayah's going to get the double kill here. The flash from Amumu, or from Silas over the wall, trying to get away from the Xayah. Isn't going to be able to do so. Xayah get the quadra kill. Varus trying his best to run away here. Khan doing what he can to follow up, getting Xayah the penta here, which is looking like she's going to get it. Xayah does secure the penta kill to ace Wolfgang. They are now going to push up with nothing to stop them. They're going to go for the first Nexus tower here. as they do secure it. We're going to be putting secure the
10
second.
seconds left before the first Wolf player comes back up.
Yeah, Wolf, they're going to completely and utterly able to push out the Nexus at 29 minutes, ending the game for the first game for E-Town.
So, the first match does go to Elizabethtown. This is a best of 3, so we're going to hang around here for a few minutes and check out game number 2. Let's put the post-game stats up here on the screen. We'll leave those up there for a few seconds, but once again, this is best of 3, so here in just a moment, we're going to take about a 10-minute break, and then we'll be back for game number 2 between Wolves Blue and the Elizabethtown Panthers.
sharpening my feathers.
Okay, welcome back to Wolfe County Wolves Esports action here for game number 2 between the E-Town Panthers and the Wolves Blue. Now, E-Town did take that first matchup, but I think that Wolfe County is regrouped and thought about what happened that first game and is going to come out stronger this next round.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's take a look at our champ selection here for the second game.
Starting out, Wolfe County will be on blue side this game, as they now go with starting out with immediately with a Zaya lock-in for that first ban. So, following up with a Camille, as we go to E-Town, who lock in the Diana for the first ban, and again doing that thing where they're just gonna wait for the last few seconds before they make sure they finalize their decisions. But good, want to take as much time as you can to make sure you plan out the best way, as they do lock in the Warwick ban. Going back now to Wolfe County, who lock in their last ban with Rumble. Going back to E-Town now, who for their last ban of the first wave, going with the Mordekaiser ban on their part. Interesting. So now going back to Wolfe County, who'll be locking in their first wave, or they're starting with their first wave of picks. So starting with Wolfe County, who immediately locks in the Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa was left open. They're going to try and grab that, make sure that they have that available for their ADC. Now going back to E-Town now, who has the potential to maybe do a counter pick on the ADC here, but instead are probably just going to go ahead and wait and pick instead for another role. Let's see who they go with. As they lock in actually they're going to go with an ADC lock-in Caitlyn pick for the ADC. With Caitlyn, though, they're probably going to go with a very peel-based comp, a lot of tank, a lot of crowd control, to be able to keep Wolfe County off of the Caitlyn so she can get the kills and get ahead. That's most likely the most logical option they're going to go with, but let's just see what they go with here. Going with their second pick, now locking in the Nautilus. Actually looking like they will be doing that, maybe. Yeah, they're going to go and lock in the Nautilus, so that whole plan about getting a lot of crowd control-based champions is definitely going to be what they're going for here. Amumu locked in for the jungler for Wolfe County again. Amumu doing a pretty decent job in the last game. He missed a couple Qs here and there, but it wasn't enough to be, it wasn't a very, negative thing that he did. A couple of them looked like they should have hit, but they didn't. But anyway, now I'll go back to the third pick now for Wolfe County, who finished out their first wave of picks with Poppy for the top lane. Poppy being a very solid laner option for Wolfe County's subbed in top laner here. A lot of damage for how tanky she's built, so that's locked in there. As we looks like they're hovering a Set lock-in for
Set being the new champion that was released
Set's a very
ago.
New champion just got released about a week or so ago. Very strong, a very get in your face, fight the entire team kind of champion.
And Set is a top laner.
Yeah, he's a top laner.
So,
or jungler, but most likely he's a top laner here, as that's how he's usually played. Set with banned Mordekaiser, so that's pretty much guaranteed that he's going to be playing top. As we now go to the second wave of bans here, starting with E-Town, who immediately go with the Katarina locked in again for E-Town. Wolfe County now going back. They do have the option of banning out a mid laner and a jungler, who are the only two lanes available. And we'll go with a Jarvan ban. Jarvan, putting a lot of work in that last game, made a really rough experience for Wolfe County there. Good to get that out of the way. As E-Town, counters with their own ban from the last game, banning out Leona. Finishing out with a Victor ban for Wolfe County.
We're basically avoiding a repeat of the last game on both sides.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to see a completely different matchup this time around.
Oriana locked in for the first wave of picks.
Cassiopeia.
As Wolfe County counters with their own Cassiopeia in the mid lane.
Jeremy's had a lot of success with Cassiopeia in the mid lane, so we'll see how that works out.
She's a very strong champion in the game at the moment.
I got an idea of who this is going to be.
Who?
Let's see if no, the Lulu pick.
So Lulu locked in for the support. Who'd you think it was?
I was thinking maybe a Thresh here, but no, the Lulu I think definitely would be better in this situation.
Oh yeah, especially when she puts it on certain people in the fight. She could put it on Zaya when she ults, or Kai'Sa when she ults into the back line, Poppy whenever she goes in to engage a fight, or Amumu as well. A lot of good options there for Lulu's ult to be used on. As we now go back to E-Town, who finished up their last pick of the game, who will be going with the Kane at the very last second, locked in for the jungle.
Let's go over a starting lineup here. Actually, let's see here. See if I can fix this real quick here. Here. There we go. Fixed it in real time. So we did have a switch for our top lane is senior Dylan Mays here for the second match. In the bot lane is senior Cameron Caskey, and in the mid lane is senior Jeremy McKinney, and the jungle is senior Matt Riley, and the support is senior Dylan Profit. So the only change from the first matchup is our top laner Dylan Mays now. We also want to thank our sponsors again here: Appalachian Wireless, Mountain Telephone, Licking Valley Rural Electric, Farmers and Traders Bank of Campton, Whitaker Bank of Campton, and Sweetheart by Stephanie of Campton, Kentucky. So thanks again to all of our sponsors. Going back to our champ selection here, we are going to have a 3-minute delay. So, Drew, take it away if you want to talk about the matchups here.
All right, go ahead and for letting everyone know what lanes, what champions are going to be played in. We have, for Wolfe County on the blue side, Poppy in the top lane, Mumu in the jungle, Cassiopeia in the mid lane, Kaiza with the ADC and the support Lulu. Going back to E-Town, who have locked in Set in the top lane, Kane in the jungle, mid lane Orianna, ADC Caitlyn with a support Nautilus. Looking between the two teams, it definitely looks like E-Town's going for a lot more of an aggressive comp than they had in the previous game, especially with the amount of engages they have between Set, Kane, and Nautilus. Wolfe County playing, a rather different comp than they did in the last game. They're sticking with the Amumu because he was a pretty consistent, champion for them to have in that last game, but are going to make up for with also a rather aggressive team comp of their own. With them having the Lulu allowing them to be a little more aggressive than they would plan on being with the aid of her ultimate, which would really help out if Wolfe County just decide to dive onto E-Town here and engage in a fight. In the individual lanes, Set's a brand new champion, essentially. He only got released, like I said, about a week or so ago. So, knowing his matchup in the lane against Poppy, Set's not a very, very tanky champion, but he does have a lot of sustain in fighting, which is how his whole kit is designed. Poppy should have the advantage for the most part with how tanky she gets built as well as how much damage she does, but Set's going to have a lot of, damage coming out on his end as well as his W's shield with the amount of true damage that it gives, which is a really crazy amount. Between junglers, Kane and Amumu, pretty much a repeat of the last matchup. Either way it could go. Kane's a little more mobile than Amumu, basically an assassin. If he's built at least like an assassin. Amumu, got a decent amount of sustain, pretty good amount of damage if he builds it. In the mid lane, it will be a pretty interesting matchup. Both are fairly ranged. Aurea has a little bit more range than Cassiopeia in terms of, her ball that she uses. But Cassie does make up with it with the amount of sustained damage that she can keep going, especially with how her kit works with her phase rush. So she'll just be able to move very fast and just keep, spamming abilities and just, whittling away at damage, whittling away at their health real quick with the damage. As well as with the use of their ultimate. Both of them have very good zoning ultimates. Cassiopeia's being a stun and Orianna's being a root that pulls everybody to the middle. Between the bot lanes, Kaiza and Lulu being a very aggressive bot lane. Caitlyn and Nautilus are going to be fairly passive, at least for Caitlyn. She's going to be able to stay back and get peeled from Nautilus, so he's able to go and and engage on these fights and pull them in while Caitlyn just stays back using her auto attacks to secure the kills. But either way, this team, it could go either way with these team comps, especially, in that top lane.
So as we get ready for game number 2 here, let's hope that the Wolves can turn things around, have a different outcome in game number 2. This is best of 3, so teams have to win 2 matches to advance on. And we're going to switch over to the loading screen here. Although in the past few weeks, the loading screen has been no more than a few seconds, less 10 seconds, and we're in the match. So let's see how it goes today. As you should still be with us here watching esports action at Wolfe County High School. And by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, we sure appreciate it if you would hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're getting close to 100 subscribers. I know that we can actually have a custom URL name when we hit that 100 subscribers, so we'd sure appreciate if you all would hit that subscribe button. If you're watching on Mountain Telephone TV, welcome to esports action here from Wolfe County High School. We appreciate Mountain Telephone here for broadcasting this from our YouTube channel. So Wolfe County this time is going to be on the blue side, coming up from the bottom left-hand corner as we await the 15-second mark for the teams to advance out into the Rift Herald.
Both lanes are now moving out to their respective lanes. Looking like, already E-Town playing a little differently than they did last game, not going for that 5-man invade down to the bot side to get a vision. But in looking like instead, both teams again just sitting up for the vision at the moment. We do see Kane going in towards Cassie as Set also follows. Leona doing what she can to burst. Nautilus attempting to hit the hook there already for the start of the game, but does get hit on a wall instead, missing Lulu just narrowly. We do see now, both teams setting up for that early vision. Looking like Caitlin's already going back. Didn't want to have any unnecessary damage that she, didn't want to have any bit of a disadvantage that she could have in the lane, so she's going to go ahead and back, healing up that little bit of health that she took.
And with that early on, it's plenty of time to get back in lane. So.
Oh, yeah. The minions just now was spawned in. Moving past the jungle buffs, as we do see, it looks like Kane's going to be going for the Raptors starting out, so Set doesn't need to worry about leashing. Poppy also moving up towards her lane. Amumu sitting there with the aid of Kai'Sa and Lulu, giving him an early leash as well. Kai'Sa's passive allowed her to do a really easy job of giving Amumu that early leash. As the game has officially begun now, we see junglers moving to their respective positions, and moving out going for his wolves as Kane goes for his red buff. Poppy, doing some damage here. Set looking like he already rushes his W for first level, which is that big cone of damage that you all saw. If they stand in the middle, they take bonus damage. So something that Wolfe Kane will want to watch out for, not standing in that. Poppy already having the early bit poke advantage onto Set here, with the little bit of range that she's got with her passive. Looking like Cassie's doing a pretty decent job of poking down Orianna in the mid lane. Looking like Set got his Q second. Gonna play a little aggressive in the top lane. Top lane looks like being the one that has the most action, at least for the early game. Just between what's going on. You see Wolfe County is playing a little defensive on most of their lanes, having been pushed back. Top, mid, and ADCs are pushed back, back on Wolfe County's side. Kai'Sa throwing the W there, doesn't connect with anything. Lulu with the auto attacks on a Nautilus. Nautilus throwing his Q back to try and hit a random hook on one of Wolfe County's bot laners. Doesn't hit anything except for minion, pulling him instead. To take another couple auto attacks from Lulu and Kai'Sa. Set doing a lot of damage there with that W combo. Finished up with the Q onto Poppy. Just a crazy amount of damage. Lulu, another attempt from Nautilus there to hit the hook on Lulu. Doesn't hit him again. Instead, hits a minion. So. Looking like Amumu is going to rotate up, trying to get a gank onto Set, but Set does have vision. There's a ward in the topside bush, so Set does have vision of Amumu, who decides to instead back and go towards his jungle. Kai'Sa with the W there thrown into the bush. Does hit Nautilus, who still completely avoids moving. The W there from Set, narrowly missing Poppy. It shouldn't have been enough. It probably wouldn't have been enough to kill her, but still would have got her really low. Something that she doesn't want to do at the moment. Nautilus sits in that bush, which still has vision of him as far as he doesn't know. Both teams, playing pretty well. It's only 4 minutes in. Both teams are sitting pretty much dead even on gold. No ganks from either junglers just yet. Probably about after the 5-minute mark, though, we'll start seeing a little bit more jungle pressure. We do see Kane, though, in the bot side jungle for Amumu, who does have vision of Kane, and is probably going to potentially try and go on to fight. But instead, we're going to see Poppy does get engaged from Set here, almost dying again with that W damage, which is just crazy how much damage that does, especially with how much damage that he stores up when he uses it. You see now Set is going to go ahead and try and push that wave out, maybe getting the first turret plating of the game. but it looks like he's going to fall a little short as Poppy teleports up there just in the nick of time to stop him from getting that turret plating. But it's sitting very low. You see the pull. The E from Set does land onto Poppy, pulling him in due to take some extra damage there in that fight against him. He's going to try and get that first turret plating in the game. So we do see, you know, Poppy is trying to go in on the fight. Set taking a little extra damage there. Mumu fighting you do see, you know, Cassie does, you know, trying to do the rest to stop the Kane in the mid lane, who instead, you know, just walks through and, you know, goes to the bush. Nautilus taking a lot of damage there from the Lulu and Kai'Sa.
It's a good combo in the bot lane for Wolfe County.
Yeah, this is definitely a better matchup for Wolfe County than it was the last game. The Zion Rakan just really messed up what they could be able to do. So Nautilus now pushed back up in the lane. We see Lulu just doing some extra auto attacks onto him. Amumu coming from the side of the Q, landing from Amumu onto Caitlyn, forcing a flash and heal.
And we see a TP in from E-Town.
Yeah, you see a TP coming in from Set on the top lane now. The polymorph stopping Set from being able to do anything there, as Amumu does use his flash to get away out of range. So, good play there from Wolfe County, you know, or good play for both teams on that end. You see Amumu does looking like he might be getting caught here by Kane, but is instead going to go ahead and run out and back off. 4 of E-Town's players are in the bot lane now. The only one not is Oriana, who's in the mid lane trying to deal with Cassiopeia at the moment. You see Amumu does go in again against the Kane, who does continually try to just, you know, keep harassing him out of his own jungle, so he gets put behind. Kane now rotating to looking like towards maybe bot lane, but instead is actually going to go again for the Amumu, but does not get to him in time, and instead goes for his red buff. Looking like Kane's sole goal right now, for the most part, is just to completely negate Amumu and take away as much of his jungle as pressure as he can. You see Nautilus rotating up to aid Kane in that leash on stealing Amumu's red buff, who does get it. Caitlyn does step, or Kai'Sa does step into the Caitlyn trap. Lulu speeding the both of them up to try and get out of there. Amumu does, you know, have vision of the he uses that scanner to get rid of that ward in his jungle. Amumu or Oriana rotating down towards jungle. Kane sitting outside the dragon pit, maybe looking like they might be setting up for the first dragon of the game here. They do have vision all around it.
It is possible, but pretty spread out. I don't know that Drake is. Looks like Poppy doing a good job here with Set.
Poppy doing some good sustained damage on the top lane against Set, but Set just, you know, a little bit extra tankier than people would expect. But he's, you know, it's still pretty even between the top laners for sure, at least this early in the game.
Well, that top laner had a great first game, so, you know, we definitely want to keep him at bay as much as we can. As you see, still see the Drake has not been attacked yet, so.
You see Poppy is deciding to go ahead and go in. Amumu, or the ultimate from Set there, onto Poppy. Does use that to his advantage. A lot of fighting here. Set is going to try and chase Poppy. She does slow him down. Both champions having the potential to turn around the fight here for sure. Trading pretty evenly for the most part, at least until Set had to use his ultimate and W to just completely chunk a lot of Poppy's health down, just because of how his kit works. The pull from Set there onto Poppy. She's going to try her best to keep him off bay. The teleport coming in from Kai'Sa in the top lane towards Set. She's going to use her W. She's going to ult to the side. A flash from Kai'Sa.
First blood goes to Wolfe County.
Set tries to flash, but doesn't do enough, as Kai'Sa's Q is enough to follow up and pop Set and finish him off. So a good teleport there from the ADC for Wolfe County. That was an interesting attack I saw, yeah. The ADC, Kai'Sa taking teleport, and instead of her taking heal, giving it to Lulu to use on her, which is a good play. It's a very interesting strategy.
Well, it paid off there early in the game here for Wolfe County, as they have a 1-0 kill lead.
Wolfe County now pushing back. We see Lulu trying to defend solo against the Caitlyn and the Nautilus, who uses the ultimate. The heal from Lulu used to have to heal herself to save her from the Nautilus, or from the Caitlyn. Nautilus trying his best to land the hook. It comes a little short of the Poppy, barely missing. Also, Nautilus walking away with just a sliver of health. Both supports there, barely getting away. Kai'Sa does have the potential to throw an ultimate up there, or throw a W to secure a random kill on Nautilus, but looking like instead she's not going to do that. as instead she tries to play the solo lane against Caitlyn. Orianna staying in the mid lane now, playing really defensive. Cassie just having a huge burst advantage onto Orianna, so she's definitely been trying to use that. Poppy doing a very solid job of playing really passive in the early game. Set pushing back up, going to have to force the wave back out, so he's going to go ahead and maybe looking like he might roam for a little bit here. We do see Caitlyn is going to look like she's going to get trapped between Kai'Sa, Palulu, and Amumu, who are all three doing their best just to keep her from moving. So she did get herself caught out in a very bad position there, and does sadly fall, or does fall to Kai'Sa. Securing another kill for Kai'Sa. Score's currently 2-0 at 11 minutes into the game. With an even goal between the two teams. As speaking of which, Wolfe did let them get the Rift Herald, so Rift Herald is secured by E-Town. So we're looking like they might be dropping it top lane, but instead we'll lose the Dragon as Wolfe does get the Ocean Drake. Next Drake coming up will be an Inferno. Having that being said, looking like Kane's going to try and help push this top lane to secure that first tower for E-Town. Trying to give them a pretty much a really dominant gold lead, which they do secure the Drake that completely uncontested, and instead now push the gold lead up to 1,000. Nautilus getting the ultimate. We see ult from Lulu onto Kai'Sa here. Kai'Sa trying her best to fight off Nautilus and Caitlyn, but just can't at the moment. Kane going in onto Poppy here with Set. Poppy using her ult to throw Set away, but Kane just staying onto her. So Wolfe's top lane did fall to Kai'Sa, as we do see now, or sorry, not Kai'Sa. Wolfe's top lane did fall to Kane, as Kane and Set now push the top lane out even further. Cassie up here retaliating now by pushing the wave back out, trying to be defensive in it. Amumu keeping lane pressure as much as he can in the mid lane, just taking some auto attacks here from Orianna, who's just able to sit back and poke him with her auto attacks. Lulu trying to defend in the bot lane now as Nautilus and Caitlyn push up. Kai'Sa just now coming in.
That Caitlyn doing a great job farming in the bot lane. Just, E-Town maintaining a 2,300 gold lead here.
Well, we do see a heal come from Caitlyn. She is extremely worried about the Kai'Sa and Lulu coming in. Nautilus does get caught with the Amumu Q though. Kai'Sa do secure that kill. The ult from Amumu onto Set. Set coming with the pull on both Lulu and Amumu. Does get both of them. Kai'Sa using her ult to dash just away to the side, but not before Caitlyn's Q does get the kill. The ult from Leon. Oh, the ult from Orianna from back, hitting both Cassie and Lulu. I'm surprised that hit Cassie. I think she flashed into it though. Looking like, yeah, she flashed into it. That was the only reason that it hit her. Good team fight there from E-Town. Good follow up there from Set. Just having a lot of Set there, as you can see, he does a lot of damage potential as well as good team fighting. We do see now E-Town is going to rotate back up. Caitlyn moving through the bot side jungle. Amumu does have vision of Caitlyn and Orianna, so he might get caught out here. He's going to try his best to get out of there. Set rotating up also. Amumu does go into the three of them. He does get his W off, but not before Set ults back into both Amumu and Lulu, sorry. Cassie coming in from the side with the Q. Going to try and poke as much as she can down onto Set, forcing them to back off. That was a lot of damage there from Amumu.
That was.
He almost, on his own killed Caitlyn.
How much longer till that Drake pops up?
I don't see there's no timer on it yet, so it's not up just yet. The W from Kai'Sa did land onto Orianna, so she did have if she wanted to either, she could ult, but she actually her ult before that. Amumu now will go for his red buff, which is has come back up after Kane decided to take it earlier. So let's go ahead and check the scores real quick between the teams. In the top lane, Poppy sitting at 0-1. She did a good job, playing defensive in this early game. Not even sitting that far behind on the farm, but that's even with the fact though Set has rotated a couple times down towards bot lane, so she has managed to make up some of that goal or some of that CS difference in the process. In the junglers, Kane sits about 15-20 CS lead difference in the jungle. In the mid lane, sitting at dead even. And in the bot lane, Kai's sitting there pretty low, about 40, or about 30-40 CS difference in the bot lane between the ADCs. But she does make up for that by having 3 kills. So that's definitely something that people want to, take notice about. Poppy is going to go ahead and sit back top lane, trying to keep Kane from pushing as much as possible. As we do see Caitlyn, and Nautilus are going to push in the bot lane in their stead. Orianna with the ultimate onto Lulu, just completely shreds her with that two-hit combo. A lot of damage from Orianna.
Gosh, that was a lot.
Yeah, Orianna's kit is, I think the way that she works is she just, her auto attack do more damage as she attacks. It's weird. Or at least for a mage, which, speaking of which, Kane is going to go ahead and go top lane, getting his red buff. Set staying in the bot lane now, coming around the back. Amumu has vision of both Caitlyn and Nautilus. Set also rotating up with them now. The 3 of them moving towards the mid lane to join up with Orianna to try and push that first mid lane turret and get it taken. Which Cassie's trying her best to defend, not against 4 people. It's going to be very rough for her as they do completely get that tower. But in the gold lead now at about 6,000 in favor of E-Town with a 4-0 turret difference. Seems like for the most part these games, at least for the gold difference, has almost always been just the towers. E-Town usually has these very, solid, pushing compositions that are working out for them. Just able to get these objectives and push them. Which, speaking of objectives, Dragon is up as it looks like the entirety of E-Town is on Dragon.
But here comes Wolfkenny into...
Wolfkenny is on there, though. Poppy does have her Poppy's teleport is not up, so she doesn't have the ability to go in on there with them.
And Wolfkenny is going to lose up this opportunity to Drake.
They're going to go ahead and back off and not risk an unnecessary, team fight that they most likely would have lost without the aid of their top laner, just for that dragon. But it looks like now Cloud Drake's going to be the buff that's going to be spawning. So Cloud Drake is going to be coming up in the next few dragon buffs. Although both sides do have a dragon, in their side, so they have that. Poppy has decided to go ahead and back. She's going to go ahead and join up mid lane with the rest of her team. Kai'Sa throwing a W out there, does connect with Caitlyn. Looks like we might be having a team fight here. We see Lulu does use his ultimate on a Cassie. He does get a 4-man ulti, as well as Amumu getting a 3-4-man ulti. The Set ult coming in from the back. The W just completely shredding Wolfkenny's team. Orianna following up with that QW combo, just pops in for a double kill, killing 4 out of 5 of Wolfkenny's players. Kai'Sa trying her best to run away. The flash hook still, the flash attempts to get away from Nautilus, but not before the hook from him still barely connects with her, acing Wolfkenny in that one fight, that really swift turnaround. That fight looked like it was on Wolfkenny's side up until Set managed to get his W off onto 3 people and just completely shred them. Which is how Set's abilities work, which now, speaking of which, Wolfkenny now being gone does allow for E-Town to get a completely uninhibited Rift Herald. And they're going to go ahead and use that to push another lane out. They do have top lane, and they have all 3 of the lanes pushed out now. And dropping it in either top or mid will probably be the most logical option for them, seeing how those ones are the ones that still have their tier 2 turrets up. Mid lane's being full health, so they will, probably take it there in the next group, when they group up. Wolfkenny now pushing the mid lane back out as we see Set pushing in the top lane wave out. We see Kane and Nautilus joining in the mid lane. Caitlyn had just now back. She spawned, she just returned back to base. She's going to go ahead and start going towards the bot lane to push that wave out. Mumu Poppy, with the entirety of Wolfkenny, staying towards the top side of mid lane. Kane goes through the wall here, looking like he might be going for an engager. He does get the Q onto Kai'Sa, but not going to do anything with it. Movement coming from the side, does land the Q with a W combo. The auto attack from Cassie does connect with the Kane as he tries to get away, but not before he does fall to Cassiopeia's auto attack. So good kill there from Wolfkenny. So we're going to go ahead and get a Rift Herald. Or not Rift Herald, we're going to go ahead and Scuttle Crab in the extra vision. Looking like they're going to go ahead and start the initiate the dragon on that, actually. No Baron. They were going to attempt to start the Baron, but they decided not to. Polymorph on the Set there. Set ulting into the side. He gets a 3 or 4 man pull, followed up immediately by the ultimate from Orianna, just shredding 3 of Wolfe County's players. Kaiser coming from the side. Ultimate ults away, trying to run. Nautilus doing a great engage on that part with the fight. Caitlyn dashing from the side. Wolfe County does lose 4 of their people. Caitlyn trying her best, or Kaiser trying her best to run away, but she's going to get sort of trapped here, as she does completely get shredded by the Orianna-Caitlyn combo, and does get another ace there from E-Town onto Wolfe County, who are now going potentially setting up for the Baron here. Kane is back up, heading towards them, as it looks like they're going to be setting up for Baron. See Kane coming in from the, you can see Kane pop, or Kane kite, Kane, Orianna, Nautilus, and Caitlyn all grouped up onto the Baron. Set's following up to join with them. We see Lulu and Mumu do trying to get up there to try and catch up with them just in time to maybe stop it from happening, but it looks like they're not going to get there in time. As E-Town does secure a Baron. W from Kaiser thrown there does connect with Set. Auto attacks. Caitlyn just doing a crazy amount of damage right now. She don't even. Oh, she's 6-1. Yeah, sorry. Caitlyn is sitting at 6-1 right now. She's one of those people you didn't expect to be as fed as she is, but she has just gotten a lot of appeal and crowd control from the team. So she has got that lead that she was planning on getting.
E-Town has a 11,000 gold lead right now with 15-6 kill count. So not looking very good for the Wolves Blue at this point.
No. Although they are going to try and send it to get this next Drake, which Set is there. He has the potential to maybe steal it. But it looks like he is going to win back off, wait for his team just to instead of fight them whenever they get there. Kaylee coming in from the side. Poppy's going to get auto attack there. Nautilus is coming in. They do have a lot of engage there from Wolfe County. Poppy with the ultimate does only manage to throw back the Set, but does fall to the rest of the team as Kane does secure the kill on Poppy. Going the score to 16-6. They're now going to go ahead and use this Rift Herald to push out. They're now dropping the Rift Herald, which actually I forgot they had. They're going to go ahead and use that now. They'll just get this massive lane push with the aid of that Baron buff and the Rift Herald. They're going to just completely demolish these mid lanes and push them out.
They actually got the tower before the Rift hit it, so yeah. Rift still has 2 good hits left in him. And that just...
You see Set does use the ultimate, getting it on to be able to pull from 3 of them. The ult from Lulu onto Cassie, trying to save her there. It does actually end up working with the aid of, also blocking the ult damage from Caitlyn. So. And
somehow that Rift Herald is not down yet. Still getting another hit in on Wolfe County's tower. Wow.
Yeah, as Wolfe County now, trying their best to defend, but they're not going to be able to do anything here. The entirety of E-Town is up. They're going to be able to push, getting that first tower down. Caitlyn getting another kill onto. See, Lulu does shut down Kane though, but all of Wolfe County's team just sitting at far too low health, not able to stop the other 4 players for E-Town. We're able to push and end the game, securing the second win, going to E-Town.
And that is it for the Wolves Blue for Fall 2019, as E-Town comes away victorious. So we'll put up our post-game stats here. This will be our last broadcast of this season. We will be back in a few weeks for Spring 2019. I don't have the exact date yet, but keep an eye out on social media and on YouTube. And let's go back here. Let's see. I can get it pulled up. I just want to say thank you to all of our supporters out there, our fans, our friends, and community members. It's been a great season.
Yeah.
It's not the outcome that we wanted, but it's one to be proud of nonetheless.
Yeah.
Final 4 state semifinalists in Kentucky.
And three seasons in a row.
3 seasons in a row.
Yeah.
These students are just so talented, and they've worked so hard. So we're going to go ahead and sign off here, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks for joining us.